After explaining what is Social Engineering Toolkit, and after explaining how effective is this tool, and after showing you if you face any problem using Social Engineering Toolkit in Kali Linux, how can you fix it? Now let's do some attacks using Social Engineering Toolkit. So I'm gonna go to my Kali Linux machine and we're gonna launch the program. So here you go. And let me open a terminal and type set toolkit. Now, many attacks can be used using Social Engineering Toolkit targeting a mobile or a computer. In my ethical hacking course, my previous ethical hacking from scratch to advanced technique course, I explained how to use SET hacking computers. In this course, we will focus more about compromising Android devices, mobile or tablet. So I'm gonna launch the tools by typing 1, and we're gonna start with website attack vector number 2, and then we're gonna choose a very simple attack, which is a credential harvest attack number 3. Now this attack will only create a fake website that will capture the username and password. So it's very easy. It will not be detected by any antivirus or any security software, and it's quite easy to implement, except it will need some social engineering skills. On a separate section in this course, I'm going to explain the different technique for social engineering. How can you spoof your email or fake an email, send a fake email, or how can you spoof an SMS, or how can you spoof a mobile number. So the tools that we have right now online, it's very, very helpful when it comes to spoofing or faking our real information. So let's focus on this section about the attacks, and on a previous on a separate section on this course, we will be talking about the tools that you can use to masquerade yourself, to fake your identity. So social engineering will be very convenient. So we'll talk about that in a separate section in this course. But now let's talk about the attack. So the first attack that we're going to explain in this lecture will be number 3, which is the credential harvest. And when you type credential harvest, which is creating a fake website, and this fake website will be hosted on this Kali Linux machine. So it's important to know the IP of this Kali Linux machine. And once you send that by email or by SMS to the victim, and he click on the link and he types username and password, it will be captured here. Very, very simple attack. We're going to take some advanced attack, but the concept is very simple and very easy to implement. You can create a fake website from the web template, which is the major website like Gmail or Yahoo or something like that. Or you can use Site Cloner, which if you need to create a fake website for a specific like bank or for a specific website, so you need to create an additional website a copy from a site from any known website. So you can choose Site Cloner, and he will ask you what is the site name. You type the name, he will create a similar one for you. But for simplicity, let's take number 1, which is web template. So let me choose 1, and he's gonna ask, okay, what is the IP address of your machine, which is the post back, I mean the username and password that will be sent from the victim, to which IP address should be delivered. You should put here your IP. Now if you do that locally, let's open another terminal, you can use the private IP. You go to the terminal and you type ipconfig to check the IP of your machine. I'm sorry, ifconfig config to check the IP of your local machine, which in my case is 1.3. This will be the IP used here, and this will be the IP that you need to send to the victim after doing some manipulation. If you do that remotely, you need to use your public IP, and we're going to have a different section to explain that. I'm going to show you how to do that remotely, but the IP that you need to use, what is my IP? The IP that you need to use to do this attack remotely, not on same network, is your public IP. So since in this phase we are doing that remotely, locally, so I'm going to write here the IP of my where is it? The private IP of my computer, which is 192.168.1.103. If you didn't need to do that remotely, as I just mentioned, you need to use the public IP, but there is some network settings that we're going to explain later on during this course. And enter. Okay, he's going to say, okay, which website would you like to create a fake one? So let's take number 2, Google. And he's creating a Google website. Okay. To start the process, yes. And yeah, I think he's up and running. Now what I can do, I need to send to the victim the IP that I just wrote here, the IP of my local machine. Of course, it will not be sent as an IP. I mean, I'm going to show you later on how can we change that. But we need to send it. We need to send him the IP. So let's do that together. I'm going to open my mail and send to the victim the link with the IP. As I told you, it will be tuned, it will be enhanced, it will not be that easy. So I'm sending from my computer an email. Let me compose and send to my other email. Sorry. Here you go. And subject, for instance, your mail is full. Your mail mailbox is full. Of course, we are getting those messages all the time that you're out of storage and your mailbox is full. Please click the below link to upgrade. This will be much more convenient if you use like a fake email. And actually this will be explained in a different section where how can we spoof the email. And then I need to put the IP here, HTTP, and let's put the IP of the victim, 192.168.1.103. Mail team. Okay, so mail team. The idea should be clear, but later on you can see that we should not send the IP this way because this is not the right way. But we'll see later how to tune that. Let's just test the concept. So I send the email. Now let me go to my device and let's see the email. Okay, give him a few seconds. Here we go. And when I open this email and I click on the link, okay, he will request me for the email and password. So I'm gonna type abc@gmail.com and let's put any password, 444, anything, and sign in. Now, number one, this will be directed to the Google website, which is very good because he will think that maybe he wrote the wrong username and password. While here, we should be getting the username and password that has just been captured. So where is it? It should be here. Yeah, here you go. This is the username and this is the password. So it's very simple and it's very easy to implement. You just, as I told you, if you use the right tools, like using a website that fake your identity, this will be explained in a separate chapter in this course. Or you can send that through an SMS using some software that fake the SMS. So it will be easy to convene. Regarding the IP, that we should not use the IP the same way it is. Most people will be using those shortened websites. So if you go here and you go to this, like a site like that, bit.ly, okay, this is a website that allow you to change or to shorten it has been created for a good purpose, which is if you have a very long URL, it can be shortened. But some people are using that in a bad way. That for instance, if I need to send the IP to the victim, instead of sending the IP as a number, which would be very suspicious, I can do it this way, 192.168.1.103, and I can type on shorten and you will get a different URL. See, this is the URL that you can send to the victim. So we usually see this kind of URL in Twitters and Facebook and stuff like that. So it show you how, how suspicious this is. So this was a credential harvest attack that has for a scope to capture the username and password. Not necessarily Facebook or Hotmail, but you can use any website that has a credential. You can clone this website and send the link to the victim, and you just need to convince him to click on this link. Next lecture, we're going to see another attack. So let's see how to do that.